This yin practice focuses on our hips, and since we don't create a lot of heat in our yin practice, feel free to wear a sweater, some socks, whatever you'd like to stay warm and comfortable. We're going to start in a comfortable seated position on our mat. And let your eyes softly close and just let your awareness begin to tune in. Don't try and manipulate the breath in any way, but just allow it to be natural. Just focus on allowing yourself to relax, bringing yourself to a place of stillness and peace, and letting the breath just naturally begin to deepen and lengthen on its own as the body relaxes. After a couple breaths, you can roll onto your hands and knees, coming into a tabletop position. Let the creases of your wrists just stack underneath the shoulders. On an inhale, drop the belly, gently gazing up, and on an exhale, press down into your mat, rounding your spine. So inhale as you come into cow, exhale, rolling up into cat. Inhale, widen through the collarbone. Exhale, pull your belly button up towards your spine. And then here we're going to do a couple rotations in our hips, so letting the hips come all the way forward on an inhale and exhale as they rotate back, coming all the way down into a child's pose. So just bringing a little bit of movement into the hip here, doing full rotations. And then allow your hips to rotate in the opposite direction. So inhaling as you come forward, almost into like a gentle up dog or cobra. And exhale as you come back into a child's pose. And then we'll make our way into a tabletop position. We're going to go through a dragon series, which is a series of lunges where we deepen into the hip as we work through each lunge. So starting by inhaling our right leg forward, we're going to start in a low lunge. So this is our baby dragon. So right knee stacks over top of the right ankle. Left knee walks back as far as you can get it. And just let the hips just gently begin to release here. Focus on keeping the face soft. Also keep the shoulders soft. And feel that nice length that you're creating in that left hip flexor and the deepening into the right hip. We'll hold each lunge in this series for about 1 minute. On an inhale, we'll come up into the next lunge in the series, which is our high flying dragon. So we bring both hands up to the front thigh. So here we're increasing the weight on the hips, maybe feeling a little bit more of a deepening into the hips. Remembering to keep the shoulders soft and our gaze soft. Remembering to stay connected with your breath, just focusing on each inhale and each exhale, using your breath as a tool that helps keep you present throughout your practice. On your next exhale, we'll bring the hands down. We're going to bring them both to the inside of the right foot. You can walk the right foot out a bit if you'd like. This is our low flying dragon. So here you can stay on the palms, or if you feel like you can begin to bend the elbows, you can, making sure that you're never forcing yourself anywhere. Maybe bringing the elbows onto a block or maybe onto the floor, or just working your way there as we hold. In our yin practice, we try and detach ourselves from what the pose looks like, and instead we focus on what the pose feels like. If you feel the sensations there, and it's not pain or extreme discomfort, then we stay here and we hold. For each pose, we try and commit to stillness. So we try and still the body, the breath, and the mind, resisting any urges to move or to constantly fidget. On your next inhale, you can gently press your way back up onto your palms if you're not already there. We're going to rotate those right toes diagonally out, and then we're going to peel the sole of the foot off the ground so that we're roll onto the outside edge of that right foot. We're going to flex the toes and just let the knee open up. And again, you can either stay here on your palms or maybe begin to work your way down if that option is available to you. Always being conscious that you're not forcing your way anywhere. Just allow yourself to be in the pose, not worrying about anything else, but just staying. Release the hinge of your jaw. Release the forehead and the eyebrows. And also notice if that right hip is clenching. See if you can allow it to soften, maybe working on it with each exhale. Focus on surrendering and softening. Just a couple more breaths here. And then on an inhale, slowly making your way back up onto the palms. Centering that front foot, we're going to tuck the toes under. And on an inhale, you can inhale yourself back into a three-legged dog, extending that right leg and even opening up the hip if it feels nice. We'll release the hips here. Coming back into your three-legged dog, and exhale as you bring that foot down to meet the left, pedaling out the feet. Moving slowly and gently. On an exhale, we're going to bring the right knee to the right wrist. We're going to come into our pigeon or swan pose, as we call it in our yin practice. Walk that left knee back as far as it can go. Square the hips. You want to make sure that you're even on your hips and that you're not rolling to one side. If you need to use a pillow, blanket, or a bolster, you can put it underneath the hip to even out the hips. And when you're ready, you can slowly begin to lower yourself, maybe onto the forearms, maybe all the way down to the ground, being conscious that the weight stays back in the hips as you lower and doesn't come forward into the knee. And see if you can allow yourself to completely soften here. There's no need for any muscular effort. Allow every muscle to relax. Do a quick scan of your body and see if you notice any areas that are craving a little bit of extra support. Do you notice any muscles that are engaged that could be softened? Maybe you can support them with blocks or your bolsters. When our body feels supported, then our muscles feel like they can relax and soften, which is exactly what we're trying to do in our yin practice. We want the muscles to be soft so that the stress of the pose isn't absorbed by our muscles, but can travel through the muscles and to the deep yin connective tissues, which is exactly where we're trying to target. As we hold here, you may notice the sensations beginning to increase. Maybe they take you to a place that's well outside your comfort zone. That's okay, as long as you don't feel any extreme pain, discomfort. See if you can commit to just staying in the pose, being still, resisting any of the distractions in the mind. This is where the mental part of the practice comes in, where we learn how to find comfort within the discomfort of the pose. So whenever you catch your awareness beginning to stray away, just bring yourself back to your breath, just focusing on each inhale and each exhale. Good job. That was about 3 minutes. On an inhale, you can slowly begin to make your way back up onto your palms. And here we'll pause for a breath. And then when you're ready, we'll slowly roll onto that right hip, bringing the legs forward. Bring the soles of your feet about mat width apart and just let the knees gently sway from side to side. So releasing the hips with some nice internal rotations. Remembering that you can move as slowly as you need to. Yin is all about moving slow and being gentle. And then when you're ready, we're going to swing the legs back, coming back up into our tabletop, and we're going to do the same thing on the left side. So bringing the left knee forward, stacking the knee over top of the ankle, walking that right knee back so that you come into a low lunge or our baby dragon. And we'll start here. Just allow the hips to begin to release. Keep the shoulders soft and away from the ears. Keep the jaw soft and the rest of the face soft. On an inhale, we'll make our way up into our high-flying dragon, bringing the hands to the front thigh, increasing the weight on the hips as we deepen a little bit further here. Just a few more breaths here. Really staying connected with each inhale and each exhale. And on your next exhale, bringing both hands to the inside of that left foot, walking out the left foot a bit if you need to. Staying on the palms, or beginning to lower to a depth that works for you. Remembering never to force, just coming to your edge, that point where your body just first begins to resist. And you stay there and you hold. And if your body invites you to go deeper, then you can gently begin to move yourself deeper into the pose. On your next inhale, slowly you're making your way back up onto the palms, coming into our winged dragon. So toes rotate out and we roll onto the outside edge of the left foot. Allow the knee to open up, being conscious of that left hip, allowing it to soften. Notice if it wants to clench. See if you can use each exhale to surrender a little bit further. Feel the hip gently beginning to open up and soften. If it feels okay for your neck, you can release the crown of your head towards the mat, softening the back of the neck completely and maybe feeling a gentle stretch on the back of the neck. And then slowly making your way back up to your palms. We'll come through our baby dragon, so our low lunge. Tuck the back toes under, hands underneath the shoulders, fingers spread wide. And on an inhale, inhale that left leg up and back, opening up the hip if it feels nice. So bringing that left heel towards your left sit bone. Inhale back up into your three-legged dog and exhale the leg down. Pedaling out the feet again. Maybe even gently swaying the hips from side to side to feel a nice release in the hips. And from here, we'll come into our swan on the left side. So we'll bring the left knee to the left wrist. Come down, walk that right knee back, opening up the hip to a degree that works for you, where you know that you can stay in stillness for about 3 minutes. Come even on your hips, supporting that left hip if it needs a little bit of extra support. You can support underneath the belly, the chest, the forehead. Whatever your body's asking for, whatever you notice can help you soften in the pose. And remembering to lower down cautiously to keep the weight back in the hips. When we lower too quickly, the weight can come forward and into the knee. With every exhale, see if you can surrender the weight of your body completely. Just allow your hips to fully sink into the pose. Allow whatever arises in the pose to just arise. Sensations, emotions, and resist the need to distract yourself with thoughts, to prevent yourself from feeling what you're feeling. See if you can just experience everything that comes with the pose. We're almost there. I know it feels like forever. But recognize that that moment that you want to come out of the pose is really when the pose begins. And see if you can hold there for 5 more breaths and see where that takes you. Good job. That was 3 minutes. On an inhale, slowly making your way back up onto the palms and holding here for about 3 breaths. And on an exhale, moving slowly, we'll roll onto that left hip, swinging the legs forward and releasing the knees from side to side. And when you're ready, you can roll onto your back, hug the knees in towards your chest, gently rock from side to side. Eventually rolling onto your right side, so stacking the left hip directly on top of the right. Keep the knees hugged in tight, and on an inhale, inhale that left arm up, and exhale as you twist open to the left, looking over the left shoulder if it's comfortable for the neck. Feel the twist come from the rib cage and allow yourself to completely soften here. There's little effort needed on your part. And on an inhale, inhale that arm back up and over, and exhale as you roll onto the back and onto the left side. So right hip stacks directly on top of the left. Knees stay hugged in, and inhale, right arm up, and exhale, twisting open to the right. Allow yourself to soften here. On an inhale, inhaling that arm back up and over, and exhale as you rock back onto the back. Hug the knees in, gently sway side to side. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees open wide. We'll come into a reclined butterfly for Shavasana. If you'd like, you can support underneath the thighs with pillows or blocks. Just surrender completely the entire weight of your body onto your mat. Release every muscle, every thought, and even your breath. Just allow your breath to flow freely. Feel yourself become heavier and heavier with every exhale, sinking deeper and deeper into your mat. Slowly allow your breath to begin to deepen. Let your head gently rock from side to side. Begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes. And when you're ready, with the assist of your hands, gently bring the knees together and into the chest, gently rocking side to side. Eventually rolling to the left side and pausing here for a breath. On an inhale, pressing yourself up, coming to a comfortable seated position on your mat. Let your hands come to your heart center. Eyes softly close and bow your head forward. Take a moment to thank yourself for taking the time to practice today and to set the intention to stay committed to your practice. And thank you for letting me guide you today. Namaste.